Good afternoon, traders. It's Bill Baruch with Blue Line Futures, and it's your daily midday market minute. We're seeing equities rip higher here today after some weakness overnight that held support, and then some gyrations through the early part of this morning that continue to hold support. The interesting thing here with the S&P, going back to Friday's range, we've seen lower highs and higher lows, and it's consolidating extremely well each day. This is the third day in a row so far with a lower high and a higher low. And now we're back to the upside of that range. Yesterday's high was 43.59. We really need to start closing out above there. Now our major three-star resistance is 43.66, 43.73. Ultimately, we need to close out above there. And we'd highlighted all this in the Morning Express to break outside of this range. But to the downside, we did hold support. If we don't close out above, then given the trend, we're likely to see this start to fall back. Things turned sharply higher after U.S. Treasury Secretary continued to reiterate the importance to Congress that they need to get this debt limit lifted in order to not default on debt. And that right there is starting to drive the market higher. If we get some positive news out of Congress, I'd imagine we start to see this thing move higher and get that close out above resistance, whether that comes today or later this week. But we have a lot going on still this week. ECB tomorrow, and then non-farm payroll on Friday. Early look at jobs at ADP this morning came in a little better than expected. Somewhat of a Goldilocks number. Not too strong, not too weak, and that right there started to give a little bit of support to the market, but we saw that selling come in after the opening bell, as we have very often recently. So NASDAQ moving against resistance. All those levels are highlighted in the Morning Express. Check it out. Today's close, we're moving into the last hour right now. Today's close is going to be paramount for this market. Can we get out above resistance? Now, crude oil has moved lower. That may be not helping the market overall as energy stocks have fallen back. Energy individual stocks, they were ready to take a little bit of a breather here today. However, crude oil falling back may not be so bad for the other parts of other sectors as well. So something to think about there. But crude oil is testing major three-star resistance. The previous high from the front month in July, about 76.90. We're battling against that. You had the White House talk about releasing reserves, and that what came out of that as the first test of support was smacked back down, and we're again there testing that support level. So if we can hold there, we can get a little bit of a lift off in a risk on environment. Like I said, ECB tomorrow, non-farm payroll Friday. What does the dollar do? How does that hold? Was that going to be a headwind higher, or is that going to be a tailwind trading lower to commodities? So something to keep in there. Now the EIA numbers were bigger builds than expected, and as well you had big imports pick up. You had some production come back online. So all in all, pretty bearish report, but the market has held in pretty good. Looks like it started to price that in, through yesterday too, or overnight. Now gold and silver are trading well. Dollars backed off from those overnight highs. You've seen the bond market move up a little bit, so that rates are lower from the overnight, and that has lifted gold. Gold has battled really well. We've highlighted this in the Morning Express very well at 1750. It's been lower every night. It's had to do some work and really grind higher through the U.S. session, and that's been good. Now, China Golden Week, I've said this every day this week, China Golden Week can be soft for the metals, and then Friday they're back from holiday, but also Friday of non-farm payroll. It's really going to come down to what does the dollar do? What do rates do? Can gold really start to boogie from here? It's holding support. It certainly wants to, but what other headwinds fundamentally are going to be there for it? We like gold. We think it can go higher, but what you don't want to see is it close below stronger support that's building, 1746. Give us a call. Our trade desk is here to help with anything on the board, 312-278-0500. Remember though, futures trading involves substantial risk of loss. It is not suitable for all investors.